Okay, so in terms of the agenda today, I'm going to spend about 5 minutes on a high-level overview of the compliance assurance processes and how compliance assurance has and can evolve over time. And then we're going to talk about evolving EHS regulation landscape and how we can stay one step ahead of the game with RegScan. And at the end, I'll discuss our approach in compliance assurance and how we address the challenges and simplify compliance with our technology and expertise. All right, so I'm going to talk briefly on a high level about the compliance assurance process. So if you look at the compliance assurance process, the input in this case will be all the acts and regulations, the policies, the standards that you have in place, and the output is you want to achieve full compliance. So how do you get there depending on the processes and the procedures they have in place at your facility? So on a high level, you have to have a process for you to know what are the requirements, the regulations, the standards, the policies that you have to comply with. And then you have to have a method of compliance or program of control in place so that you meet this requirement and ensure compliance. So the third one is, how do we know we're meeting this compliance? So you need to have an audit program in place to help you with auditing your compliance status at your facility as well as your company. And finally, there are any non-conformances and deviations. You need to have a program in place to manage them, which includes investigation, root cause analysis, reporting, corrective actions, as well as improvement plans. So now I'm going to pass my presentation to Ned to talk about some of the hot topic in the EHS world, as well as talk about RegScan. So Ned, take it away.
Thank you, Tech, for the introduction. What I'm going to talk about today, a little bit up front, is about some of the hot topics that we're seeing across the globe right now. One always important thing when you're talking about a regulation or a regulatory community is the political climate. I'm going to go just a little briefly into the new EPA Clean Water Rule. I'm going to talk more globally about greenhouse gas emissions and how they're being regulated. And then what's going on with the rise of renewables, how that's affecting the regulatory landscape as well. And finally, more about transparency, I think, when you think about product stewardship and monitoring and reporting. So these are the topics that I'll cover today, and it's going to be mainly North American-centric, but we will talk a little bit about what's going on across the globe. First, the political climate here in the United States has a significant impact on what's going to be regulated in the next several years. President Obama, being a Democrat, does not have control, obviously, of the House or the Senate. So his ability to get any kind of environmental legislation through is pretty much zero. So what he has done is focused his efforts on using the regulatory agencies to implement policy. And he's done a significant amount of this regulatory activity, especially as it revolves around the new Clean Water Act rule. Now, what he wanted to do here, and the agency did, is they wanted to clarify some Supreme Court decisions that happened about a decade ago on what actually can be regulated under the Clean Water Act. And they wanted to set down new bright lines so that the communities that were near these waters would understand whether they need to get a permit or not. Now, the regulated community itself does not like the new rules implemented by the Obama administration, because in essence it's going to increase the number of waters regulated by the EPA 2.8, or the Army Corps of Engineers, 2.8% to 4.7%. So the new rules that have been implemented are actually expanding the power of the federal government here, which is a constant theme that you'll see with the Obama administration. He's trying to create an environmental legacy, and he's doing that, again, through the regulatory agencies.